Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Friday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini, and how is everyone doing? Bit of a late night last night, and after watching that performance, I have, for today at least, have gone full anti-Steelers. No Steelers apparel whatsoever. Got myself a Team Pirate jersey on. That's how I feel about them. Backwards cap on right now is the Pittsburgh Penguins. They at least are a Pittsburgh sports team that decided to show up last night. So that was good. They ended up beating the LA Kings 4-2. But the big story last night, Thursday night football, the Pittsburgh Steelers flying high, 4-1 on the season, go in to take on a struggling 2-4 Cincinnati Bengals team, and that game was one of the ugliest performances that I have seen in the Mike Tomlin era. Talk about a trap game and a half. Just a truly disgraceful performance all around. We are going to break down how the game went here in a moment. We will then follow it up with winners and losers from that game. A couple of winners, actually, for the Steelers, all on one side of the ball. You can guess which unit those winners are coming from. And then we will get into the Penguins and their win last night against the Kings a little bit. Did catch a little bit of that game after the Steelers and Bengals wrapped up. And then we will get into any extra Pittsburgh sports news that we come across along the way, and head into a Steeler-free weekend. I can, give my voice a bit of a rest over the past week and a half, on here for two Penguins games, two Steelers games, and a whole bunch of stuff in between. Before we get things started here today on this Friday, got a lot to talk about. I'm sure all of you are going to want your voices to be heard. If you want your voices to be heard, please go to the comments section, leave any thoughts, questions, opinions that you may have in there. Also, give this live stream right now a like and a share. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. I believe we're still hanging around 600 for subscribers, something like that. Also, go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and tune back in later tonight for a new edition of SCSR 60. We will see how that one goes along. Before we get things going here, by the way, tons going on today. Pardon going live a little bit later than usual. To the comment section we go. Regular reoccurring viewer here was here last night as well. Concepts. I think everyone who is claiming this should have been an easy win doesn't know that Flacco was starting instead of Browning. Those rankings are with Browning at quarterback. Indeed, they were struggling, and their loss even against the Packers last weekend, that was Flacco, who was with the team 4 days at that point. So now that Joe is in that offense and still didn't even know some of the plays that were being called into him, which is kind of crazy. He went out there and diced up the Steelers defense. Why are the refs always calling different games for each team? Bengals can hold, interfere, and push off all night. Also, the Eagles false start every tush push, but they call JPJ for nothing. Ticky-tack. Yes, we are going to talk about the officiating. Was very critical of them, their concepts in real time last night. At least one of those DPI calls on JPJ was very, very phantom. The Jalen Ramsey DPI where Jamar Chase had his touchdown, Chase pushed off a little bit. Jalen Ramsey talked about that post-game. We will mention his comments. And then the tush push, that's what sent me over. Everyone bitching and complaining about how the Eagles egregiously false start just about every single tush push they do. They want the NFL to crack down on that. And then, of course, the Steelers, they do it once in a blue moon, and the officials throw a flag on it. Now, I'm going to be really pissed if you see whoever the Eagles play this weekend, if you see them have a false start, a clear as day false start on the tush push. They should be watching that like an absolute hawk if they're going to call the Steelers last night. If the Eagles, they run the tush push and they don't call an offsides at least once or twice, then I'm going to be even more livid than I am right now. Concepts right here. What up, SCSR? Still recovering from not sleeping after the frustration. 4-2 is the only thing keeping Me saying, yeah, pretty much same thing here. Concepts, hope you're doing well outside of football. I am. I am there, Concepts. I appreciate you looking out for it. Voice box, not doing so hot right now. I'm trying to, not get screaming because then it's going to sound like Wheezy the Penguin from Toy Story when his squeaker or whatever is broken. So don't want to get into that. But yeah, very frustrated. 4-2, like you said, the only thing keeping all of us sane, that is one of very few silver linings from last night's game. And outside of football, everything is going pretty smoothly right now. At least, I won't have to worry or do prep work for a game day live stream for Sunday tomorrow. I can sit back and watch my Pitt Panthers. Hopefully they put belt to ass on Syracuse tomorrow night, and I can take at least some joy in watching football this weekend. Also, Concepts here. I love DK. No hate, but that was a pathetic attempt to catch the Hail Mary. Rodgers threw a dot. That was perfect. Sorry for all the manic chats, by the way. That's all right, Concepts. Keep them coming. I enjoy interacting with all you fine folks. 8 of you in here right now. I expect that number to be pretty big as we go along with the stream tonight. Lots of people, I think, are going to want to get in their opinions on last night's game and how bad the Steelers looked. Didn't watch back the Hail Mary there from Rodgers. I knew he did have a damn good ball. Wasn't paying attention to, DK or anyone specifically on that attempt, but pretty much, wasn't even contested. The defensive back for the Browns jumped up and swatted that down without any Steeler really jumping up for it. So if DK was the guy, which I wouldn't doubt he'd be the guy to make the first catch attempt on that play, then that was a pretty pathetic effort on his part. Wasn't DK's best night last night. Also, my dad in here was here last night for the second half of that game, and yeah, he pretty much same reactions as I. What up, everyone? Let's let our wounds heal after last night and start focusing on the next game. We cannot have a repeat performance of last night. We will look a bit ahead to next weekend's game against the Green Bay Packers. If there was ever, us as Steelers fans watching this team for so long, if there's anything we learn, they'll lose a game like that against the Bengals last night, and then they'll go out and they'll pull off a stunner against the Packers next weekend. So we will talk about that game a little bit, but first off today, fresh off that loss, we are going to be down talking about all of it real quick. Gonna start off tonight's stream getting into how the game went down real quick. First drive of the game for the Steelers. First off, before we get into the game itself, there was actually, some good fortunes going the Steelers' way heading into last night's ball game. You had Deshaun Elliott, who was questionable with a personal matter. Hopefully, everything is okay with him. We haven't had any, definitive reports of what was going on with him, but hopefully everything is okay. Elliott did play for the Steelers last night. He got to Cincinnati in the morning, and also no Trey Hendrickson last night for the Bengals. So they were down their top pass rusher and their most dynamic player on defense. Onto the game itself and what went down last night. First drive of the game for the Steelers offense. They moved the ball pretty well down the field. They capped off a nice drive with Aaron Rodgers scrambling around, buying some time, and hitting Jonnu Smith wide open in the end zone for the touchdown. On the Bengals' first offensive possession of the game, Keanu Benton getting a sack on the second play. That surely wouldn't have been their only sack until the fourth quarter, we all would have thought. And the Steelers, they did force a punt. There was a pretty bad first down given up on a 3rd and 14 by the Steelers on that drive. That was a sign of what was to come throughout the game. The Steelers offense then on their second possession punted the ball right back to Cincinnati after a failed flea flicker killed any momentum on that drive. All of us on stream last night, we were confused by, why that happened in the first place. After the game, that play was brought up. Head coach Mike Tomlin said that the play call was a flea flicker. But then Aaron Rodgers said otherwise, said that the play was not a flea flicker. If I had to guess what happened there, the play call initially probably was a flea flicker, and then Rodgers at the line checked out of it, changed the play to something else at the line of scrimmage, and Jaylen Warren, who pitched the ball back to him on that flea flicker, did not pick up the signal. Nonetheless, still a dumb play call, in my opinion, at that time in the game against that Bengals defense. They should have kept things pretty simple. To end the first quarter, again, the Bengals punted the ball on their second drive. Steelers then began to march down the field again on offense. They were slowly moving downfield and got inside the red zone, but on a 4th and 1, and the Steelers about to run a tush-push play on, I believe, 4th and 1 to pick up that first. Mason McCormick or Troy Fautanu, one of those two, were flagged for a false start as the ball was snapped. We just talked about it a minute ago, their concepts. Of course, we get called for a false start on a tush push that we barely, do. But the Eagles, they can do that exact same thing 10 times in a row, and they never get flagged for it. How convenient. How convenient, and just confused as to why we are the first team to get, bit in the ass by that when everyone else does it. The Steelers, they ended up settling for 3 after that. That false start put them back to 4-6. Chris Boswell kicked the field goal to go up 10-0. That false start from the Steelers, keeping them from possibly scoring another touchdown, I think that was the beginning of the downfall for Pittsburgh last night. Just like that, boom, the floodgates opened, and the Cincinnati offense, they just took off. Chase Brown ran it right down to Steelers' throats, and Joe Flacco, and he did this, the rest of the night, threw it again and again and again and again and again and again, over and over and over again, to number 1, Jamar Chase. Kept going back to him, and, it just couldn't be stopped. Jamar Chase, being the main target on that drive, ended up catching a touchdown, dropped a touchdown a play before, and then scored on the next one. Jalen Ramsey, he was called for a defensive pass interference on that play, and on the replay, it looked like Chase gave a little bit of a shove as well, but another common theme last night, any sort of small grab or contact that was done by the Steelers, it was going to get called every damn time, so that was frustrating as well. Good old momentum surely changed sides when the Steelers had one play on offense after the Bengals scored that touchdown. Aaron Rodgers, deep ball to DK Metcalf. Metcalf in double coverage. The ball was badly overthrown by Rodgers, probably his worst pass as a Steelers quarterback thus far, and it was an easy pick for, I believe, Jordan Battle, the safety for the Bengals. After that interception, 3 plays, featuring a big 37-yard run from Chase Brown and another defensive pass interference penalty later. And the Bengals, they found the end zone again. T. Higgins, 29-yard touchdown pass, slant to the middle of the field. We watched that a lot. In-breaking route to the middle of the field, ran right up the gut between the 2 safeties for the touchdown. We all then had a small glimmer of hope that, the Steelers can go on a nice time-consuming drive offensively and put up some points before halftime. They got off to a good start, Jaylen Warren running the rock like a madman, and then the Bengals, they picked the ball off again. Rodgers looking for Metcalf again. Metcalf, he gets hit by safety Geno Stone, and as Stone and Metcalf, they're falling out of bounds, corner DJ Turner was able to wrestle the ball out of Metcalf's hands and get a knee down inbounds to seal the pick. Instead of the Steelers putting up points there, massive INT. The Bengals, they are the ones to get 3 more points heading into halftime. And honestly, the way that their offense was humming there in the second quarter, it was only the clock that stopped them from scoring another touchdown. Out of halftime, Flacco kept going to Jamar Chase over and over again, but on a rare occasion, for the night. The Steelers, they made a stand with their backs against their own goal line. They forced a field goal. Down by 10, Steelers offense found their groove again, started to mount a comeback. They got down to the outskirts of the red zone, mainly off the legs of Warren again. And then on a big 3rd and 18, Rodgers, he fires a strike to Pat Freiermuth over the corner or linebacker who is in zone coverage. Beautiful ball from Rodgers. And Freiermuth gets his first touchdown of the season. Also, not meaning to take away a negative from a fairly positive drive there, but the reason why the Steelers had to convert that 3rd and 18 and they were at immense risk of, just forcing for 3 again. I guess Arthur Smith decided that it was a good idea on 1st and 10 to have 6'7", 300-pound Darnell Washington get the ball on a screen instead of him doing the blocking for someone else. So that set the Steelers back 8 yards there. On the following drive for the Bengals, they quickly regained their 10-point lead. Flacco spreading the ball all over the field to different offensive targets. The drive capped off with an easy 6-yard touchdown pass to Noah Fant, wide open in the middle of the end zone. Another pathetic coverage breakdown there by the Steelers. Pittsburgh's offense, they answered again to the Bengals touchdown drive with one of their own. The drive started with a 37 run by Jaylen Warren, and then Warren again making a massive play, chop blocks a blitzing linebacker, and Rodgers is able to roll out a bit and hit Darnell Washington for a 2-yard TD pass. The Steelers' pathetic defense, they then did their best to stop the Bengals offense, somehow forced them to settle for a field goal. They were helped out a bit by a holding penalty on right guard Jalen Rivers for the Bengals. So the offense down by 6, they get the ball back, and the Steelers offense, they had a rare 3 and out, and the Bengals offense, they then tried to run the clock down as much as they could, and Joe Flacco, of all people, had a 12-yard run that made everyone look like a bunch of dumbasses. Honestly, if there was a play where before the clock hit 000, you would say, yep, that one was the sign that the Steelers were going to lose. I'd probably go at that one, even though it didn't result in any points. The defense did force a punt there. TJ Watt showed up at least one time last night, sacking Joe Flacco there. 2:46 left on the clock in the game. Things were looking bleak again for the Steelers offense. A holding penalty put them in 2nd and 20. And Rodgers, he put on the Superman cape, I'll tell you. Avoids pressure off the left, rolls out to the left, and just fires an inner ballistic missile 68 yards downfield to Pat Freiermuth for the go-ahead touchdown. Nice scooting there by Freiermuth after the catch to get to the end zone. Fantastic play right there by Rodgers. A nice play as well by Freiermuth. All we needed then was the defense to put aside all their struggles that they had last night and, just like they did 30 seconds ago, make one more stop on the Bengals offense. And what did they do? The Steelers gave up 2 receptions immediately to Jamar Chase to get the Bengals into field goal range. The second, the worst, Patrick Queen and Chuck Clark, they got totally mesmerized by a decoy screen, and Flacco hits Jamar Chase on a shallow crosser no more than 3 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, and there are 0 Steelers in his zip code. I'm sure we've all seen the screenshot of that play. There is no one within the picture frame of Jamar Chase when he caught that ball. He scoots 18 yards, and that got the Bengals in the field goal range. That play, that was just so bad. At that point in the game when, Chase made that catch to get him into field goal range, he had been targeted, I think, 22 times for 15 receptions and 143 yards. And not a single person had eyes on him or, cover him. They didn't even know where he was, let alone, chase after him. So that was just absolutely terrible. To make things even worse, the true death blow Flacco hits T. Higgins on, I think, a second down. The Steelers, they might have had the clock stopped where they, would have gotten the ball back with 40 seconds or something. I don't know. But Flacco, he hits T. Higgins one last time down the left sideline, 28-yard gain. Higgins smartly slides down at the 5-yard line instead of scoring a touchdown to set up a Cincinnati chip shot field goal. Evan McPherson, Bengals kicker, easy 23-yarder. The Bengals take the lead. The Steelers, Hail Mary with 3 seconds left, was knocked away, and the Bengals, they pull out with a win over the Steelers, 33-31, just like you see there on the screen. Post-game, we did hear from some Steelers players, mainly defensive guys, and honest, at least, for as bad as a game they had, at least they were, brutally honest. Cam Hayward and, feel free if, children are around, turn your volume down. I'm just going to go verbatim here, word for word. Cam Hayward, we have to stop the fucking run. It's as simple as that. It's not on the secondary. That's a cop-out. We have to control the front line. I am pissed off that we didn't do our job. TJ Watt on what went wrong. Seems like everything. It was an absolutely unacceptable performance from us on the defensive side of the ball. Jalen Ramsey, he was talking about the officiating. I think Joey Porter Jr. Complained about the referees some, and Ramsey, he had an opposite reaction to what Joey said. He said, "Fuck the calls. I'm not worried about that. We have to play better, starting with myself when the opportunity presents itself. That's part of the game. When you have receivers that are superstars in the league, you know that they are going to get away with shit like that," talking about the push-offs. It is what it is. Next play, you got to play the game, got to execute when you get the opportunity to execute. Who cares? So at least the defense, they knew that they got their asses kicked, and they said they got their asses kicked. So honesty, accepting what happened, that is the first stage in fixing a problem. Head coach Mike Tomlin, he also spoke after the game, had a bit of a different viewpoint on his post-game comments. He said that the Steelers' failure to generate turnovers on defense, coupled with the 2 interceptions from the offense, they were significant factors in the outcome of the game. Gonna cycle back to that comment here in a little bit. But all in all, just a horrid game from the Steelers. And it was really that way, just all Bengals, at least, in terms of their offense going against our defense from the end of the first quarter through the rest of the game. Another good thing Tomlin did say is that no major injuries were suffered in this game. I think Darius Slay, he got banged up a tiny bit. Someone else did too. I'm forgetting right now. Isaac Seumalo, he got banged up as well. Ended up missing a couple plays, but sounds like everyone made it out all right. But still horrid game from the Steelers. Though they weren't perfect, I think it's fair to say that the offense, they kept the Steelers in this one all night long, and the defense, they let them down spectacularly. And like I mentioned at the beginning, Cincinnati, they did all this with Joe Flacco, and they did it without Joe Burrow and Trey Hendrickson. The only silver linings from this game are Deshaun Elliott. He did play after he was questionable a day prior with a personal matter. The offense continues to flash eliteness. I'm not willing to call them elite yet because they got some stuff to button up, but another 30-plus point performance from them. Gotta love it. And the Steelers, they're still atop the AFC North, 4-2 record. Concept, you brought that up, so that's still a positive. They are still, I think, a game and a half ahead of the Bengals in the division. So flush this one as best as you can and move forward, win the next game. Steelers, though, they had a chance to pretty much put the division out of reach before we even hit November. And now you look in the rear view mirror, and the Bengals and the Ravens, they're now closer than they were heading in the last night's game. So that's what went down in the game. Going to get into some winners and losers from last night's game here in a minute. But first, let's go back to the comments section. some more comments here, Echelon and Concepts in the comments section. 10 of you in here right now. Please, any thoughts, questions, opinions, comments that you have, feel free to get those in there. Right here, Concepts with a comment. DK didn't DK get targeted on that second pick, helmet to helmet mid catch by the tackler. Yet Deshaun got called the week before for a clean hard hit. Curious your thoughts. Yeah, DK did take a shot. I did not recognize whether it was helmet to helmet or not. I think also, maybe it's comparing that hit on DK to the hit Deshaun Elliott laid out. DK, he's just such a big bruising guy. I think, referees, they're going to just, give defenders the benefit of the doubt when he takes a hard hit compared to, Deshaun Elliott. I forget who he hit exactly, but, Elliott, he's one of the bigger safeties in the league, and he delivered a hard hit. And also, similar thing, Joey Porter Jr. was already dragging him down. And, so, I mean, I don't really know if you can, on that pick, blame DK or Rodgers. It was going to be a tough catch, and that hard hit, gave the corner an opportunity to rip it away. But those are my thoughts, on that. That stolen Warren touchdown early still has me fuming. Yeah, I mean, and it's not like it wasn't. It's not like it was one of those, phantom penalties on the Steelers. It was a pretty bad hold by Zach Frazier. Just let him go at that point. And I know he doesn't know what's going on behind him, but if, the guy starts to go that way, just let him go. 9 times out of 10, Warren's going to outrun that guy anyway. So, yeah, that had me pretty mad in the time as well. Echelon here. We suck. I'm lost for words. Yeah, I'm trying to put words to the loss last night. There's it's one of those situations where you have so much to say, but you don't know how to accurately convey all of it. That's what I'm, trying to do with y'all right now. Aaron Rodgers shouldn't have to be our best player on Sundays, but I guess he's forced to be. Yeah, he has needed to put on the Superman cape in most of these wins here for the Steelers. I mean, definitely was the Superman in week 1 against the Jets. Tried to play Superman yesterday against the Bengals. Didn't have his best game against the Seahawks, but the defense and him, they were pretty even against the Browns, and then the defense, they actually did solid against the Patriots in week 3. Yeah, but frustrating game all the way around. Do we still target a wide receiver, or do we look at Dexter Lawrence or a corner maybe? I'm so lost right now. Is Terrell Austin the issue, or is Flacco the Steelers boogeyman? Gonna answer your partner your question in 2 parts here. Concepts. After watching, Metcalf really for the first time get taken out of the game plan as best as you could. It wasn't his most dominant game. And without Calvin Austin, I know we're missing Austin right now, but even when he does come back, how much of a factor is he really going to be? I think it's critical that if the Steelers are going to continue to at least offensively keep this scoring pace up, they are going to need to add a wide receiver. And right now, the wide receiver trade rumors, they are swirling. We talked about it on Wednesday, I believe. Jacoby Myers, I think, could be had. Chris Olave could be had. I was going to save this for the extra Pittsburgh sports news tonight, but yesterday during the game, I think Jalen Waddle, he removed all mentions of the Miami Dolphins from his social media accounts. So sounds like he could be had for the right price. Yeah, wide receiver could be definitely used. If the Steelers, let's just say the Bengals game was a blip on the radar, they beat a still, I think, pretty good team in the Green Bay Packers next weekend, then you got to think hopefully the defense rights the ship of whatever uh of whatever, you know, funk they're in against, teams with competent quarterbacks. But you know, offensively, you can't rely. I know the tight ends finally got going last night, but you can't rely on DK to just be the number one guy outside. As Echelon states here, we'll make a trade for two people, go all in on the season, get Olave and a fourth. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're looking for maybe a 3 or a 2 right now for Olave. They might, you know, budge on something near the deadline, but I'd give up a fourth and a fifth for Jacoby Myers. Just bring in someone like that. I don't care who it is, as long as it's a name brand wide receiver that is going to be on the whiteboard of defensive coordinators' offices saying, all right, we know what Metcalf can do. We also got to worry about this guy. They just don't have that right now. Wide receiver. Also, possibly looking at a defensive lineman. You mentioned Dexter Lawrence or a corner. Don't really see that. It would have to take a massive injury at either of those two spots. Though, even if they do add at those positions, I don't think it's going to be, a big name guy like Dexter Lawrence is getting floated out there right now. I don't even know. I think Jalen Phillips, an edge rusher for the Dolphins, he's been apparently linked to trade talks. So, yeah, if the Steelers do add anyone on defense, I don't see it being a big name. They already have those guys in place, and it might take an injury for them to make a move like that. Also, so lost right now, Terrell Austin the issue, or is Flacco the Steelers' boogeyman? It could be both. We will talk about Austin here in a moment in the winners and losers. I bet you can guess which category he is in there. But Austin, yes, he's an issue. Is he the biggest issue? I don't think so. Flacco, is he the Steelers' boogeyman? He certainly is for Mike Tomlin, and that's apparently enough to be the Steelers because, that was just awful strategy, execution all the way around yesterday for the Steelers team. Flacco looked like Voldemort when Chase dropped that easy catch. Yeah, that massive catch and flies moment, that was funny in the time, though. We were so pissed off in the moment we couldn't take the time to laugh at it. By the way, talking about Flacco here, let's just real quick take off our Steeler fandom glasses here and our vitriol for Joe Flacco and the Bengals. Can we just, objectively looking at the game last night, give a round of applause to Flacco and Aaron Rodgers? You're talking about two old school gunslingers at the end of their careers, two guys who were, two of the best quarterbacks of their generation. They go out there one more time against each other on primetime football, and both of them, they put on a hell of a show. The quarterbacks, they definitely were the least of each of these teams' problems last night. So just wanted to throw that out there as well. We can go back to hating Flacco now, but I do at least want to throw a little bit of respect him and Rodgers' way. They gave us an objectively damn good and entertaining football game to watch last night from an offensive standpoint. Here, Echelon again, done with Mike Tomlin. He's bringing up turnovers. You can't do basics, right? Stop the run. Yeah, I'm done with Tomlin too. I'm gonna say that again here when we get to the winners and losers section. I'm gonna mention it here in the winners and losers segment. That exact comment is why I'm coming back to it, because out of everything that the defense did wrong, you're gonna bring up first and foremost the interceptions on offense, which one was just a hell of a play by the corner, and the other, who the hell knows? Was it just a bad ball from Rodgers? Did Metcalf not run? Probably a little bit of both. But those two INTs, you on defense, your $160 million defense, stop a nosebleed, every once in a while there. Like you said there, do the basics. Do the basics. Bringing up that turnovers, that's just him, giving a cop out for the defense there when they just had an abysmal game. Calvin is not a threat. I played wide receiver in college, and we ran 12 personnel. Trust me when I say he doesn't fit in jumbo packages, 12 or 13 personnel looks. But in terms of big passing downs like 11, he's okay. Absolutely, and I agree with that. 11 personnel, you put him in the slot, and he is good. Run him with a crosser in the middle of the field, and he's going to pick up that first down with his speed. Yeah, Austin is good in that stuff. Even, if you pass out of 12 personnel, sure, you can use him there. But when you go 12, 13 personnel, you got DK Metcalf, who's the perfect guy, big body wide receiver who can block in the running game. But that then is when you need a guy like, he's still at the top of my list, like Jacoby Myers. He's a dog, perfect fit for that right now. And also, unlike Olave or Waddle, he's going to come in, and I don't think he's going to be, too upset or come in with a preconceived, gripe that he's going to be the number 2 guy behind Metcalf. So that's why I like Jacoby Myers, and why I would like him over, Calvin Austin in this offense. Still keep Calvin Austin. I don't know who you take out of the other 3 wide receivers, but getting a wide receiver like a Myers, that is going to be that's going to be priority number 1 with the trade deadline approaching. Concepts here. Roman Wilson did ball out at least, was blocking very well, had 3 good catches, 1 called back for a penalty, but the second Muth TD where Roman made a great play for the first down. Yeah, Roman Wilson, we did see him last night. We saw Muth, of course, on the 2 touchdowns, encouraged by Roman Wilson. Did get a lot of playing time. You thought you would have saw that on Sunday against the Browns, but we did see a good bit of Roman Wilson last night. Ball came his way a ton. Maybe the first building block set down to give him a more prominent role in this offense. Echelon here. A-Rod, winner. Everyone else on offense, B+. Defense, F. Cam Hayward, Z. Wow, going after Captain Cam right there, a Z-. That's crazy. I would have thought you'd put the coaching staff with the Z-. What's with the singling out of Cam there, Echelon? I'm pretty sure I, am going to mention similar problems, that you might put up with, that you might put in the comment section with Hayward, but, I lumped him in the defense altogether with the F, singling him out. Wonder what that's about. Comment here from Concepts. I hate Flacco and have always respected him. Great point. It sucks our defense seemingly made it so easy for him. Yeah. That's both coaching and the players' lack of execution. That's both ways there. And yeah, you hate him, but as soon as the trade went down last week, we came on here and we said, could the Steelers still win? Yes, they probably should have won, honestly, because they were the better team. But I said Flacco strikes 10 times the amount of fear in my heart, in the hearts of Steelers fans and Mike Tomlin than what would have been with Jake Browning. So, yeah, hate that Flacco did it again on this defense. He did it last year with the Colts. He's done it years prior with the Ravens, and he did it at least one more time. Might be his last time. Who knows? Things can change in a month when the Steelers and Bengals meet again, but he did it one more time against the Steelers last night. 7 of you in here right now. Like I have been mentioning, we are going to get into the winners and losers from last night's game. Usually I do these after a win, but hard to do it after a loss. Anyways, gonna start with the losers here. At least I'll alternate here between losers and winners. First loser of last night's game. I think it is very, very easy to pick this one. The Steelers defense and the coaching staff, they are loser number 1. Straight Fs across the board for just about everyone. I want to start with the players here because ultimately they are the ones out there on the field playing, and I could almost go unit by unit on the defense and say something negative that each and every player did last night. You want to go to the defensive line, Cam Hayward, Keanu Benton, Derek Harmon. Just like Cam said post-game, they couldn't cave in an interior of a mediocre, at best, Bengals offensive line. They allowed Joe Flacco all the time in the world to pick apart the Steelers defense, and they gave up 108 rushing yards on 11 carries to Chase Brown, who I believe entering last night had an average of 56, 60 something rushing yards a game. So he was coming in, sputtering out of the gates for the season, and then, gets a get-right game against the Steelers, 108 on 11 carries. Going to the outside linebackers and edge rushers here, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig. Watt, he did his best Myles Garrett impersonation from last week and barely showed up on the stat sheet. I'm sure Browns fans had a hell of a day at our expense last night. Alex Highsmith, again, invisible. The Bengals even ran his way a good bit, continuing a theme that we saw in the first two games of the season. And then Nick Herbig, the only criticism from him wasn't even his fault. I believe he played just 24 snaps, 24 to 28 snaps defensively last night for Nick Herbig. I think it was somewhere around 38% of the snaps. For all he's done for you the past two games, Nick Herbig, why all of a sudden he did not play at least half of the defensive snaps last night, I don't know. I get that you kind of wanted to rotate everyone in on a short week, but only playing him 24 snaps or whatever it was, that was just an absolutely confusing, mind-numbing decision right there. And also, it's not like they were going up against world beaters at offensive tackle. Orlando Brown, coming into last night, gave up, I believe, 4 sacks in his first 5 or 6 games, 19 pressures. Herbig has beaten him before. Alex Highsmith, he should have, been able to beat him more often and get to Flacco on his blind side. Watt got chipped a bunch by tight ends, but still went up against Amarius Mims from Georgia, first-round rookie. Don't think has really flashed on tape yet. Watt should have won more than he did against him. So, not a good night for the pass rushers. The really front line, the front seven of this defense as a whole. Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, Cole Holcomb, the middle linebackers, they are the second line of defense against the run, and they gave up chunk plays. Chase Brown just ran by them on too many occasions. Also, they were part of the problem in that zone defense coverage too. And lastly, but certainly not least, the defensive backs. Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr., Darius Slay, the corners, specifically here. I don't know where to begin with those guys. No matter which of these three covered Jamar Chase, he just kicked their ass all night long. Ramsey, he got paired up with Chase, I think, the most. This was by far his worst game of the year and probably his worst game in quite some time. He got torched, got multiple defensive pass interference penalties. Some of them were iffy, but still, Jamar Chase routed him a whole bunch. JPJ, similar issues against Chase and T. Higgins. Again, penalty troubles against these Bengals wide receivers. The one DPI ball was thrown behind T. Higgins on a crosser. That one was pretty soft on PZ Jr. And then Darius Slay, I don't think he had the penalty trouble necessarily, but still had 3 or 4 quick slants on from Jamar Chase, ran on him. And I know those are hard to, cover, but at least one time anticipate that it's coming. You saw it, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 and 4 times. I guess 3 times is shame on me. Darius Slay kept on giving up those. But not a good night from those corners. Just they got tore apart by that fantastic duo of Chase and Higgins, and even Andre Yoshivas. Think he had a decent game for the Bengals, and it was certainly some night for that trio of corners, especially Slay and Ramsey, who we remember they were brought in specifically to go man-to-man with Chase and Higgins, and they just got absolutely bodied. So not a good night for them. The safeties, I don't have too many, overwhelming criticisms of them. Deshaun Elliott, I guess a decent game. Chuck Clark, he had one really good series in the first half where he made 3 big plays. Then on the next drive, took a bad angle to try to tackle T. Higgins on his touchdown. And then Juan Thornhill, I mean, he made one good play on the first drive of the game to force the punt, and then really just crickets from him after that. The most headache inducing thing from this entire game, we've mentioned it multiple times, going to do it again. Both players and coaches, they are at fault here. They allowed the most obvious number one weapon for Cincinnati and Ja'Marr Chase just destroy them again and again and again. The final stat line for Ja'Marr Chase, 23 targets, 16 receptions, most in his career. Now second week in a row where he's had 10 or more receptions, 161 yards, 1 touchdown, and he did it mainly off of those aforementioned slants and comebackers to the sideline. And I guarantee you, I just read you his stat line. I'm going to try to pay attention to the NFL games on Sunday. I guarantee you, 16 catches on 23 targets, 161 yards, and a touchdown. You will, somewhere this weekend, I don't know where, find a quarterback that had a worse stat line than Ja'Marr Chase alone did right there. 16 for 23, 161 yards and a tud. There will be some sort of quarterback out there that has a worse stat line, maybe even one that matches it exactly, which won't be any sort of a glowing endorsement. So that was all frustrating, especially, them trying to cover Chase. Again, it didn't matter really what type of coverage or man they put on Chase, because he was just on a whole another level last night. And at some point would have loved to see them put 2 or 3 guys on him to make Cincinnati beat them with Higgins or someone else. But they didn't. And, of course, they let him wide freaking open on that final drive of the game. So that was absolutely demoralizing. Also, the losers in this category, forgot to mention them. The coaching staff, Mike Tomlin, 2-10 now on the road on Thursday Night Football, 0-7 against divisional opponents on the road on Thursday night Football. Once again, his team playing down to the competition, severely unprepared, even though it's a Thursday night game. Tomlin nor defensive coordinator Terrell Austin, neither of those two made a single adjustment at any point in that game. They barely threw any blitzes at a weak Bengals O-line and an immobile statue Joe Flacco, and they kept resorting back to that soft-ass, too-high safety zone defense that Flacco has picked apart for years. So, didn't make any adjustments. Ja'Marr Chase and Flacco, they were post-game interviews. Chase said that they knew exactly what the Steelers were going to do. Flacco said he didn't even know some of the play calls that were coming in, but because he's seen this zone defense and it break down many times before, it made it easy for him. TJ Watt, he even said that Flacco did the same stuff that he did last year with the Colts, and still the Steelers did not pick up on what he was doing or adjust to it. So just no accountability, no sort of adjustments, or, hey, they're doing this, we should do this from the coaching staff. I hope Mike Tomlin bringing up the 2 interceptions mentioned earlier wasn't him giving a cover for his defense, because it was just absolutely terrible. The only thing that Tomlin did correct this week in preparation for the Bengals was calling out Browns GM Andrew Berry on Monday, saying that Cleveland shouldn't have traded Flacco to Cincinnati. He was 100% right on that. People have said, oh, Tomlin was wrong saying the Browns shouldn't have traded him, which he was completely right. You do not want to trade Joe Flacco to the Bengals because then you get results like that, especially in the Steelers case. So, yeah, Tomlin feared Flacco like the plague. They knew he was coming. They had time to prepare for him, and they still couldn't stop him. Tomlin, at this point, I've said it before, he's the James Franklin of the NFL. Can't win the big game, can win, some smaller games, but when it comes to teams with competent quarterbacks and or competent head coaches, he'll lose those games, especially on big stages. And I've also come to accept, talked about it earlier, is that we won't win anything of significance with him at the helm ever again. One of the worst losses and performances of Tomlin and Austin's, careers, and one of the worst performances by their defense. And I would say to fire Teryl Austin, but we all know that A, that's not going to happen, and B, even if it did happen, Tomlin, he's still the head honcho there. So, yeah, not a good night for them. 13 of you in here going to try to catch up on a little bit of comments here before we get back into the winners and losers. Echelon here. Cam, part of the run game. Also, I just don't want to keep lying to myself. He's put the defense in compromising positions simply of age, and he's complained in the offseason. Okay, well, you're really, Echelon there, the first person to bring up the complaining of him from the offseason. I think he had, after the Jets game, a good start to the season, but, haven't seen him pop like what we saw. Age is just a number for him. Some days, others, he did show his age a bit last night. He hasn't, made some eye-popping plays recently. And good news is that at least all that complaining he did, all the money that he's due, it's going to be off of performance incentives and playoff win incentives, which, to be honest, do we expect him to hit either of those marks right now? I don't really think so. Not one false start call on Orlando Brown is insane. He jumps before every snap. My bad, I'll quit bashing the Zebras. No, go ahead. I mean, they definitely were in favor of the Bengals last night. Were they the biggest reason why the Steelers not lost? No, but did they give free first downs and touchdowns to Chase and Higgins off of some light stuff, and even they pushed off sometimes? Yeah, they did that as well. The real problem with the team is the D-line. No pressure, can't stop the run, can't get off the field on third and longs, and can't set up yourselves for a solid defensive drive by winning first downs. Agreed there, every single thing you just said, Echelon, and I believe I mentioned all that stuff talking about what happened in the game last night and in that loser segment for the defense. Ramsey needs to understand Chase's physical, put hands on him and play, bump and run. He didn't touch Ramsey all night, but played what I like to call patient press, Surtain special. Ramsey, when he did put hands on him, he got called for a penalty, so maybe that forced him to maybe not be as handsy or physical, because the Zebras, they were calling that pretty much every single time. Didn't matter whether it was him or Joey. So, yeah, they need to figure out something new with these corners. Or this, defensive game plan before these two teams meet up again here in about a month. Flacco here was upset and shut everything off after the third quarter. I don't blame you. Honestly, couldn't watch that defense. It was pretty unbearable. Aaron Rodgers tried his hardest. He is coming up here in the winners and losers segment. Tomlin is Doc Rivers. Tomlin is Lewis, the old Bengals head coach. Doc Rivers. Yeah, he is not a guy that wins the big ones anymore. Sugar Ray Robinson, welcome back, Sugar Ray. Does Black, number 94, play, or what does Highsmith have any awareness when he allows Flacco to pass him away? And what are we going to do about defensive coordinator? Well, defensive coordinator, that's an easy one. Teryl Austin ain't going to go anywhere. And if this defense does continue to struggle, he's going to be the scapegoat fire because we all know Tomlin, who does actually run the defense, isn't going to be going anywhere. Y.A. Black, whatever sort of hype he had coming out of the preseason, that quickly vanished. I haven't really even noticed him when he's out there. That's how invisible he is. For a dude who's, 6'6", 340 pounds, you should be, whatever center you're going up against, you should be pushing him back into the center, into the quarterback's lap. And if you're, right guard, if you're getting double teamed by a center and a guard, you should be able to get enough tension from both of those two where if you rush for the other guys, should be able to win their one-on-one battles. So, Y.A. Black, he's been invisible. Alex Highsmith, been waiting for him to make a splash play, hasn't really come in a while. Rodgers balled out, also threw a perfect dime on that Hail Mary. Yeah, you did bring up that up there concepts. He did have a hell of a game. Like I said, take away your fandom if you were just watching that game last night as a pure football lover and enjoyer of offense and quarterbacks slinging the ball over the yard. You had two of the best of their generation at doing that out there last night, and they put on a show one more time. Cam Hayward defends Connor more than opposing teams. Also, he got all these old jokes, but the oldest player on our team has more heart than him. Yeah, kind of. I found that, also kind of odd from him calling this quarterback matchup the Icy Hot Bowl. My brother, you are not that far off from them. So, interesting words from him. Just, Cam Hayward taking a lot of strays, a lot of shots this year. JPJ did better last year against Chase. Yeah, they did put him on Chase. Chase had a few catches on JPJ. I'm not exactly sure how many. Porter did have that one coverage early on in the game. I believe they called DPI on Porter, but I didn't think there was anything there. And he covered Chase pretty well right there. Maybe, trying to get back to the the old strategy here. If you got two corners, a 1 and a 2, Ramsey's the 1, Porter's the 2, put your number 1 Ramsey on their number 2. Ramsey, I'd like to see him go up against T. Higgins next time. And I'm mixing in Darius Slay and Joey Porter Jr. with double or triple coverage even throughout the whole game against Chase next time these two teams meet. I don't want to see Chase or Higgins get over 5 catches the next time these two teams meet. If the Bengals are going to beat you next time, make Flacco beat you again, but this time throw in most of the time to Yoshi Voss and the tight ends. So that's what I would like to see next time. I say let the coordinators do their job so there is a actual blame. I think you actually get that on the offensive side of the ball with Arthur Smith. I mean, sure, Tomlin might, give little tidbits in his ear saying to Smith like, hey, I want to run this ball right down their throat here. Or, hey, let's, get some chunk plays here through the air. I'm sure Tomlin gives, broad things of what he would like to see from Arthur Smith there. But other times, Smith, it's him and Rodgers figuring it out. And still, they have had a little bit of a, dumb plays here and there. Sugar Ray here. What is Broderick's problem? Why is he hugging and tackling Rodgers? That is coming up as well there, Sugar Ray. JJ here. Arthur Smith is trash. Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay, absolutely not. But are he and Rodgers, they have great chemistry and what they get out of this offense right now? Sure. The running game has been better. Rodgers been excellent through the air. Had really one super terrible bad pass last night. But Arthur Smith has been all right. It's not that his offense doesn't work. It's that some of the play calls he makes are just they make your head hurt. Like calling a 1st and 10 screen to Darnell Washington, where he's the one getting the ball, not doing the blocking, and that play blows up for 8 yards. That was, confusing to me. Why, when Jaylen Warren was getting a rhythm running the ball, you then went away from it each time he was just getting hot. That confused me as well. That's the only gripe that I really have on Arthur Smith this season, is that some of the play calls have been, questionable at the certain points in the game that they are coming in. Echelon here, the matchup for Chase and T should always be JPJ on Chase with shade over the top underneath, depending on Ramsey on T. Let the safeties fly around and make plays, make the tight ends beat you. Exactly what I'm saying there, Echelon. Glad that you and I are on the same book here. Lance for 3-3 here again. Shout out from Mon Valley again. Welcome. Just trash play calling. Again, JJ, I do agree with that. Some of his play calling has been questionable. How his offense has performed, when they execute plays, the right plays at the right time. It has been, little criticism from me here. Just got to work on that. Also, I think, having a quarterback who has seen it all, done it all in Aaron Rodgers, to where he can see something and check out of that play, I'm sure that helps, patch up that wound a little bit at least. Echelon here. Hope I'm not the only fan that will be paying close attention to the Eagles tush pushes this week. Yeah, I'm going to be watching that. I mean, I don't know. I haven't looked at the guide what games are going to be on here locally, but yeah, I will. If the Eagles, if there's any sort of, small flinch on the tush push, you best believe that thing is going to be reposted 800 times over, most of them by Steelers fans. Gonna get back here into the winners and losers here, ladies and gentlemen. Just going to, before I go back to your comments, brush through all of them quickly. Really, the loser on the defense and coaches, that was the most expansive one I had. Winner from last night, this one pretty obvious. Jaylen Warren, 127 rushing yards on 16 carries, 158 all-purpose yards, and he had a rushing touchdown wiped out by a hold on Zach Frazier. We thought heading into last night that Warren might have himself a game, and we were correct. Now, the only thing we want to see from Warren is that the ball gets in his hands, more often, because, I mean, Rodgers, he's the engine that makes that offense hum. DK Metcalf, he's a big cog in this operation, but Jaylen Warren, maybe him and Metcalf, they are like nearly head to head in terms of you get the ball in those guys' hands, in space, then they can make magic happen. I want to see Warren get the rock like almost twice as much on the ground. I believe he had 16 carries, so maybe not double the carries here, but I want to see him get over the 20 carry mark next week against the Packers. I want to see him get the ball a couple of times in the passing game. Let him be shifty in a bowling ball on the ground. Give him the ball in space. Making guys miss in the past. So Jaylen Warren, definitely a winner. JJ, you just brought it up a moment ago. I do have Arthur Smith as a slight loser from last night's game. Not too much to nitpick from the offense, but Arthur Smith, again, his play calling and game planning a little bit suspect. The most glaring issue that I had with him is that the Steelers offense, they were going up against a literal worst against the run defense in the NFL. In the Bengals and the Steelers, they just passed it too many times for my liking. When Warren got hot, then Artie, cooled him off by going with some other, clear passing personnel where Kenneth Gainwell would go out there, stuff like that. And, the screen pass to Darnell Washington, the flea flicker call, which is why are we getting too cute against this defense? Didn't understand that. Just, some confusing moments there for Arthur Smith. The winners last night, even though Arthur Smith and his play calling was a little suspect, a definite winner last night. was the tight ends. Arthur Smith, had his ultimate wet dream last night of how those tight ends fared. Pat Freiermuth, welcome back, sir. 5 catches, 111 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. A bunch of you on here, me including myself, maybe a tiny bit, we were wondering, is Freiermuth ever going to be TE1 in this offense again? And is he potentially going to be a bargaining chip in a trade? But I think last night, that performance, he for sure ain't going anywhere. And he reminded all of us that he still can do stuff like that with some regularity, at least against the Bengals. As much as, Joe Flacco and now approaching, definitely Jamar Chase, as much as those guys are boogeymen for the Steelers, Pat Freiermuth certainly is that for the Bengals. They cannot stop him. Jonnu Smith, 3 catches, 28 yards, and a tud. Not the best box score for Jonnu Smith, but hey, getting back into the end zone for the first time, I believe, since week 1, does give optimism that he may start to heat up just like Freiermuth. Lastly, Darnell Washington, 3 catches, 2 yards. That BS screen pass took some yardage off of his total. He also had a touchdown, a dog again in the running game as well from Washington, especially in that jumbo tight end personnel. He and Spencer Anderson, that tight end package, that jumbo tight end package, him and Anderson together, it's still working. They had good success again with that last night. That was last night. Freiermuth a touchdown, Smith a touchdown, Darnell Washington. They become the first trio, the first threesome of tight ends to score touchdowns and have 3 or more receptions in the same game on the same team in the Super Bowl era. So congratulations to those 3 making history there. Loser last night. Also, he was brought up in the comment section a moment ago. Broderick Jones. Maybe a couple of days from now, I can overlook his performance. He did, start to get positive, have positive performance. I mean, hell, he shut down Myles Garrett, had a little bit of help, but still didn't allow Myles Garrett to get anything on Sunday. And then Myles Murphy, I think, got a sack on Aaron Rodgers, or at least a pressure. Almost Jones had Rodgers sacked again on the Freiermuth touchdown pass. I don't mean to single him out here because really, the offensive line had not their most spectacular night. It wasn't their worst, but it wasn't their best. But the reason why I'm singling out Broderick Jones here, and someone brought it up in the comment section, I can't overlook that he had the pure stupidity of literally going and tackling to the ground Aaron Rodgers after he threw that touchdown pass to Freiermuth. First off, Jones, you almost get him killed because Myles Murphy just absolutely demolished you in a one-on-one rep on that play. But then you go and you grab him immediately after the touchdown, you shake him, and as Rodgers jogging off to the sideline, you go and you bear hug him and tackle him from behind. Like, seriously, what the hell are you doing? Your quarterback is 41 years old. That's even, doubly more of a factor in the fact that you shouldn't be tackling your quarterback to begin with. He already gets hit enough behind this offensive line. And why are we just unnecessarily jeopardizing the health of, I think, the breadwinner and the most irreplaceable player on the Steelers offense right now? Just an absolutely stupid, dumbass act there by Broderick Jones. Rodgers, he was visibly pissed off. I agree with him 100%. Broderick, I mean, I may or may not have put you as a loser for this game had you not done that, but that was clearly pushing you over the top. Mediocre performance, mediocre to, below average, and then you do that. Don't pull that shit again, Broderick. Last winner here for the Steelers last night. Just now getting to him, Aaron Rodgers. Outside of those 2 turnovers, which you could put up an argument that neither were completely his fault. The overthrow on the first pick. Metcalf could have ran a little bit harder there, from what I've heard. And also, that second one was just a great play by the DB. Other than those two, Rodgers in the offense, they did their job. 23 for 34 was Rodgers, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. So another solid night for him. 76.3 QBR, a 103.7 passer rating. Rodgers now, through 6 games, has 14 passing touchdowns. That is the fastest that a Steelers quarterback has reached that mark since Big Ben Roethlisberger in 2016. He did it in 5 games instead of 6 for Rodgers. Also, Rodgers, he moved into 5th place all-time on the passing yards list. And, unless Rodgers has, some sort of truly god-awful game where it's, 3 touchdowns, all of them are clearly on him, it's going to be hard for me to, list him as a loser or, not mention him after any of these games. For context, those 14 passing touchdowns in 6 games. I don't need to say this to describe how bad the Steelers quarterback situation has been in the past 5 years, but Kenny Pickett and Kenny Pickett in 2022 and 2023 had 12 passing touchdowns and 13 passing touchdowns in each of those 2 seasons, and Rodgers beat both of those records in 6 games. Russell Wilson and Justin Fields last year, I can't remember what their passing, touchdown ratios were through the first 6 games for each of them, but guarantee you it wasn't as good as Rodgers. So Rodgers, definitely a winner last night. He and the offense, for the most part, they did their job. Like I said earlier, defense just let them down spectacularly. And the last loser for last night's game, gonna point the finger as I point the finger at everyone else on the Steeler. I'm gonna go back to that old saying that you got 3 more pointing back at you. I'm a fool, and honestly, we all could be fools in here for expecting the Steelers to win that game last night if you did. I think I said, Steelers offense humming going against that Bengals defense. I thought the Steelers pass rush was going to eat. Neither of those 2 things happened. Maybe the offense a little bit happened, but the defense was just so damn bad. I said they were going to, get to Flacco and pick him off twice. Didn't even come close to either of those 2 things. So I'm definitely a loser for saying that, and that the Steelers were going to have a double-digit win again. I think my final score prediction was like 41 to 24 or something like that, which, at least it was a high-scoring game, so I kind of got that right, 33 to 31, but certainly was not a blowout, and I will take a big ol' L and wear it on that one. That's for sure. All right, 14 of you in here right now. We just wrapped up the winners and losers from last night's game here. Going to try to catch up on your comments here. Please keep those comments coming. Love interacting with you fine folks. The NFL script is undefeated. Well, what the hell kind of NFL script do they got going on that every other team in the AFC North has changed quarterbacks except the Steelers? And they keep popping up those graphics too. They popped it up on Prime last night. I'm pretty sure they popped it up on Sunday against the Browns, where it showed these were the 4 starting quarterbacks in the AFC North at the beginning of the season, and now here are the 4 starting quarterbacks. And Rodgers, he is the only constant in that situation. They are trying to jinx him getting hurt or something here, and I do not like it. Echelon here, Warren balled respectfully. Yes, indeed, he did. And a performance like that, I think he earned himself to get even more looks. But watch now, after, 16 rushes and over 100 yards, they'll probably have him down near 10 or 11 rushes next week, because, that's just how it goes. Arthur Smith will make that decision somehow. Whole offense, minus a few flags, was great. Yeah, a hold on Broderick Jones. I think that canceled out a first down for Roman Wilson. The holding for Zach Frazier on the touchdown run for Jaylen Warren. So really, I think the few flags, those were simply on the O-line here. It's always been the same thing for Pittsburgh with the offense. The offense is good, defense trash, or vice versa. Yep, haven't been able to sync those up in quite some time. And the thing that even makes it more frustrating is that all the money, all the resources they have been put to the defensive side of the ball, and they are struggling that damn bad. $160 million. Your only real big moneymaker on offense is DK Metcalf and his, $30 million a year. So, yeah, haven't been able to get both of those units to play good football together. It's one of those take a picture or else no one will believe you type things. Steelers ran the ball only 20 times the whole game. Yeah, they should have pounded the rock like at least 30 times. And I said, Warren 16 for 120. Sure, I'm cool with that. Kenneth Gainwell, of course, he's going to get a couple of carries. I would have loved to see Caleb Johnson a little bit. He's in his hometown. He's going to be juiced up, coming off of a decent showing against the Browns over the weekend. I would have liked to see him throw something new that the Bengals haven't seen. He's a rookie. Throw him out there and let him, get a big run going. Something like that, but that didn't happen. Hopefully we trade for Jacoby Myers this week. Then you will have more time than usual to learn the plays and maybe play Sunday night against the Packers. Would love that. That has been brought up by other people. Trading for a wide receiver. If there was ever a time to do it, you got a mini bye here this weekend off, and then another full week of practices here. But Steelers, I'd be shocked if they pulled the trigger on a trade over the weekend. I think they're going to take this down to the wire. If they do trade for a wide receiver, it's not a 100% guaranteed. I think, kind of like some trades they've done in the past, they're going to take it down to the wire and wait for a team to come to their offer instead of them going to their offer. Welcome back, Muth. Much respect, says Echelon. Indeed, I was the first talking crap, but I apologize. Yeah, we all owe Muth apology from that game last night. Now, can he continue it? That's another story. I think the excuse can be made that him torching the Bengals, it's a given. It's kind of like, Ben Roethlisberger torching the Browns back in the day. It was death taxes in that. So maybe that's the same thing for Muth. Steelers haven't scored more than 7 first quarter points in 56 games. I did see that there, JJ. Was it that? They didn't specify, or I didn't read it right. I did want to mention that stat, but I was wondering, was it, more than 7 first quarter points scored or more than 7 first quarter points allowed? Like they just said, Steelers haven't had more than 7 first quarter points in 56 games. I didn't know they should have used either the word score or allowed there. That would have made things much more sensible to me. Broderick Jones, tackle on Rodgers may be the best tackle by our team all night. Wanted to show our D-line how to bring down the quarterback, maybe. I bet you I saw someone make the joke. I'll reiterate it here. PFF gave Broderick Jones a 93.8 grade on Broderick Jones for that tackle. And Rodgers, for the most part, he has stayed upright for the past, 3 or so games, really since Ireland. Maybe Jones wanted to say, this is how it feels. Don't want you to get too comfortable back here. We can always, turn back into a pumpkin at any time. So just giving you a bit of a reminder of what it feels like to, hit the ground here. The fact that people were upset with Rodgers for getting pissed at that is insane. Yeah, I mean, dude, you're 41 years old, and also it's from behind, so you can't see it coming. The last thing you're expecting as you're literally approaching the sideline is for a 300-pound dude to grab you and take you down to the ground. So I don't blame Rodgers for being pissed. If he would have swung on Broderick, I wouldn't blame him one single bit. Where was the highest paid non-quarterback? TJ Watt whole night. Did say that. And Steelers fans, we're going to zipper our mouths shut after, bashing Myles Garrett and all the invisibleness he had on Sunday against the Steelers. Watt did have a sack, though, so he at least, still had that over Garrett. The smelling salts that Rodgers was snorting looked addictive. Yeah, he hit him a couple of times. And bro, like when he's looking like this at the defense, I'm like, okay, something's about to happen. I think what was it? He hit the smelling salts, and then it was the Fryermuth touchdown. He hit the salts, and then 3 plays later, he hits Muth on that play. So yeah, he's gonna have a hell of a supplier in Pittsburgh, and I'm sure Steelers fans, they're gonna, if they were say Rodgers sending out, I need recommendation on smelling salts, about 100 Steelers fans will be down there saying, yo, you want the closest stuff you got to ayahuasca here in Pittsburgh? Take a whiff of that, big boy. How is the football field coming along? Have not heard that yet, Sugar Ray. We didn't know that the field was getting taken out and resodded immediately after the Browns game. Last I've seen was a picture of just all dirt at Acrisure Stadium. So the new grass hasn't been down yet. I assume we are probably going to see something like that here within the next couple of days. They're going to want to make sure it's in tip-top condition because not only is it, everyone bitching and complaining about it, but also, there was any sense over there, and whoever takes care of the field, they're going to want to they're going to want to have that thing looking pristine on a national stage Sunday Night Football to take the heat off of them from it just looking god-awful on Sunday. Mark DeShark in here. Welcome back, Mark. Trey Janu, they didn't really even need him when they brought him in here. Well, he caught a touchdown pass last night, and all the 12 personnel they run, I still think they're going to need him at some point. They do need to involve him in the passing game more. 3 catches, 28 yards and a tud last night. I say try to double his catches, and they did try. He did, have a couple of passes that were in tight coverage that were incomplete. So get Jonnu Smith involved more in the offense. I definitely think so. Al on the prowl in here. Welcome back there, Al. When we weren't up by at least 17 points after the first quarter, that is when you knew we were going to be in for a rock fight. When it was 10-0, and then the Bengals marched right down the field and scored a touchdown. That was when I was like, all right, this ain't gonna be a blowout like it should be on paper. Every time we face a decent quarterback, we get exposed. Yep, decent quarterback who's a veteran, seen it all, done it all, like Flacco, and you've seen it from other guys. Patrick Mahomes, he's done it. Trying to think here. Rodgers didn't do it last year against us with the Jets, but I blame that more on the Jets than anything. But yeah, anytime they face a quarterback who knows what he's doing, they get gashed like that. 18 of you in here right now. Please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Seeing another comment here from JJ. Bengals scored on every drive they had. They did punt a couple of times, though. They did. Stat I forgot to bring up, 7 of their last 8 offensive drives in the game last night, they put up points. And they did it mainly Joe Flacco to Jamar Chase and giving the ball to Chase Brown and just kept on finding holes for 10 yards or more gains. This team needs to get back to fundamental football, power running, solid defense. We don't have either of that. The power running, it could be there. The running game right now is solid. They just aren't using it as much as we would like. Using that 2 tight end personnel, that's really improving to run the defense, though. That's a whole nother thing. They the worst offense in the NFL. Yeah, Joe Flacco, 8 days as a Bengal with really, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Every other, part of that Bengals offense you could say is among the worst in the league, and they just got carved up like a Thanksgiving turkey there, JJ. Indeed. Before I get to any more of your comments, I think we are going to, we're an hour and a half into stream right now. Going to real quick get to the rest of the Pittsburgh sports news here for the day. Gonna switch gears here just for a couple of minutes, so don't butt on out of here. Gonna switch gears here for a couple of minutes to the Pittsburgh Penguins and hockey. at least one Pittsburgh team showed up to play last night. The Pens out on the West Coast, game 2 of their 3-game West Coast trip against the LA Kings, and a bit of a lineup change for the Pens. Last night their lineup: Ricard Raquel, Crosby, Brian Rust, Mantha Malkin, Brazo. So no changes to the top 2 lines. Philip Hollander with Tommy Novak and Philip Tomasino on the 3rd line. Connor Dewar, Blake Lizotte, Nola Chari, the 4th line. Ben Kindle taken out of the lineup last night for the Pens by head coach Dan Muse. Muse saying it has nothing to do with his play. He's going to follow a similar development plan to Harrison Brunick, who did not play Pens last night, along with Caleb Jones. To the game itself, Pens, like the Steelers, didn't show really any signs of stopping the offense of the LA Kings. They gave up 2 first-period goals, Kevin Fiala and I think Warren Fogle as well. I was only half paying attention to the Pens game as the Steelers were going on. Then things started to go the Pens' way. Second period, Pens got a power play goal from Evgeny Malkin, his first goal of the year. He's had a bunch of assists. Now he gets his first lamp lighter of the year. That made it 2-1 on the power play. Then, pretty much immediately after that, the Pens' 4th line getting it done. Ryan Shea sends the puck up ice. Nola Chari able to get one on net. Connor Dewar bangs home the rebound. That tied up the game at 2. On to the 3rd period. The Pens shorthanded, 13 minutes, 10 seconds left in the game, and it is Philip Hollander the other way. The Pens defense wraps it out of the zone. Ricard Raquel and Hollander get a 2-on-1 up the ice. Raquel, believe he got the shot off on goal. Hollander chipping away at the puck beside the net, was able to get it past the goaltender Forsberg. His first career NHL goal, a shorthanded goal to give his team the lead. He is the first, he becomes the 9th player in Penguins history to score his first NHL goal while shorthanded, the first to do so since Oscar Sundqvist in 2016. Add on an empty netter from Sidney Crosby because, of course, in the later stages of the period, the Pens, as you see right there, escaping Crypto.com Arena with a 4-2 win. By the way, going back to that Connor Dewar goal, take this. Ryan Shea, Pens defenseman, he's been on a pairing with Chris Letang so far this year. He has more points on the road. Ryan Shea, he recorded an assist last night. Only Colorado's Cale Makar, one of the best, if not the best defenseman in the entire NHL. Only Makar has more points on the road than Ryan Shea. So Shea off to a crazy hot start. Shots on goal last night, Kings outshot the Pens 32-26. Also, the Kings dominated in the faceoff dot, but it was the Pens special teams unit that came in clutch. They were able to get a power play goal and get a shorthanded goal as well, and they blocked a ton of shots. 15 blocks. Arturs Shilov's in his 3rd start of the season, stopping 24 of 26 shots against. So good stuff there from the Pens. Okay, now we are going to change gears once again, get into some broader topics here. Extra Pittsburgh sports news segment here. Al on the prowl. I ain't watching the Green Bay game. Gonna catch up on these comments here before we finish up. I ain't watching the Green Bay game. Is that because you can't or because you won't there, Al? I at least hope that, come and tune in here on Sunday night. At the very least, I can just tell you what's happening. You don't have to, witness anything terrible with your own eyes. So I do that for you. Tyrone Keaton in here. Welcome back, Tyrone. I'm sad. Yep, you were here and you witnessed it all with me and everyone else last night, Tyrone. So, yeah, that was not a good game. Flacco got benched for a rookie quarterback. That was with the Browns, too. Let's remember Cleveland quarterback hell. LMAO, I'll be here, Alan. That's all right. Glad to have you back here on Sunday night there, Al. Browns are taken, so that's meaningless. Yeah, good point there by Concepts as well. They're going to look... Flacco getting benched, I mean, whether he was doing good or whether he was doing bad, he would have to be, lights out, have like similar statistics to Rodgers at this point, and have the Browns, neck and neck with the division lead for us right now for him to keep that starting quarterback job with Cleveland. The Browns, if they caught lightning in the bottle with Flacco, good. If not, they were going to bench him, more often than not anyways, because they want to see what they have in Dylan Gabriel. And I'm sure they're going to want to see what they have in Shadur Sanders before too long, before they probably look quarterback in the first round of this year's draft. Tyrone here, defense is Swiss cheese. Got to be better. Yep. Agreed there, Tyrone. Against literally like one of their run defense. The Bengals' run defense is bad, but their running offense too was pretty bad, and they just got beat up by Chase Brown and Samaje Perine and whoever the hell else toted the rock. They had Joe Flacco get a 12-yard run on them, for God's sake. D-line was a no-show. I liked what I saw from the offense. Yeah, offense, little complaints from them. Another solid game from Rodgers, except for the 2 picks, which, they are what they are. Pat Freiermuth and the tight ends, they got some looks. Freiermuth is back, 2 touchdowns. Jaylen Warren, excellent stuff on the ground. So, yeah, offense, you can probably list, 5 or 6 things before you get to anything on the offense of what went wrong for the Steelers last night. Who would win in a race, Tom Brady or Joe Flacco? Are we talking right now or back when they were in their prime? Think back within their prime. I'd go with, I think, if you're talking back in their prime, I'd go with Flacco. I mean, he could, avoid pressure. But now today, I don't know what Tom Brady has been doing, post-playing career, but Flacco, I'm sure he's beat up. He's sore, still playing football. Brady might get him in a race today. I don't know, though. It'll be close, though. Forget tortoise in the hair. It's tortoise in the tortoise. Man, we got scorched, bro. Says talking trash with the Steelers. Welcome back. Yeah, not a good game last night. They're talking trash. Joe Flacco pulled the ball and hit us with the 11-yard run. Yeah, if I could, turn this room into a crash out room, it'd be that. If that were to happen like in a playoff game, I would mother F up one side and down the other this Steelers defense, because that should never, ever, ever happen. And they got fooled bad on it. So, yeah, not a good night for the Steelers last night. I'm going to wrap up here real quick, ladies and gentlemen, with just some extra Pittsburgh sports news here for the evening. Going to bounce all around here. We are going to start with the Steelers. Mentioned earlier, talking about how this team still needs to add a wide receiver. Last night, the Bengals did as good of a job as anyone else this season so far, shutting down DK Metcalf. So the Steelers still needing a legitimate wide receiver too that strikes fear into the opposing defense's hearts. That is still needed. One of those potential guys could be Jalen Waddle. Mentioned earlier that he deleted any mention of the Dolphins from his social media bios. So I guess he can be available. Chris Olave, Jacoby Myers, those 2 guys, they're probably on the trade block. One wide receiver who will not be on the Steelers' radar anymore of potentially joining this team. I don't think he was, an option for the Steelers to begin with. I don't think they had any interest in him, or else he would be here. Treylon Burks, former first-round pick from the Titans, got released from them after an injury a couple of weeks ago. He is signing with the Washington Commanders practice squad. Honestly, that is probably a solid landing spot for him. last thing here on the Steelers for tonight. Cool thing here. Steelers tight end Jonnu Smith. He will be the Week 7 NFL Player Association Community MVP. He and several other Pittsburgh Steelers teammates coordinated a visit to connect with and encourage 100 inmates at a local prison. So I assume that, I wonder if that's in Pittsburgh or if it's Miami, wherever Jonnu Smith's hometown was. Do not know what exact prison they went to, but reason why I say that, among the group, I hope that this is his brother joining him to encourage inmates, or if his brother was an inmate. Jonnu Smith's brother Wayne was among the group. So cool thing there from Jonnu Smith. Wrapping up with some extra Penguins news here today. Some good news. We mentioned, I believe, on Wednesday when the Pens played the Anaheim Ducks Tuesday night. In the second intermission, Penguins play-by-play man Josh Getzoff fainted between periods and was taken, out in a wheelchair and to a local hospital. Everyone sending him thoughts and prayers. It was reported later that night that he was going to be all right and continue the trip with the Pens. Was not on play-by-play duty last night. Last night for the Pens game. Instead, that was Joe Brand. But we did hear from Getzoff last night. He said, I want to thank everyone for reaching out after what happened on Tuesday night. My family and I are overwhelmed by your support and so appreciative of your kind words. Big thanks to the first responders at the Honda Center and the great doctors and nurses at UCI. I am feeling good and am eager to get back in the booth. See you soon. So fantastic stuff there from Josh Getzoff, that he will be all right. Penguins today, they stayed in LA after their game last night. Again, looking at the lines from practice today, Ben Kindle back in the lineup on the third line there with Tommy Novak and Philip Hollander. Philip Tomasino comes out, so that will probably be the change there. And last thing on the day, one extra Pittsburgh Pirates news story today. Not even a news story. Today, the 46th anniversary of the Buccos' last World Series win in 1979. So just watching the video they put out there, all of those legends, Stargell, Parker, 46 years ago. That's a long time since the Pirates have last won a World Series, and I'd be lying to you if I said that I believe in my heart of hearts that I will get to see a World Series in my lifetime for the Pirates. The way baseball is right now, it's just not going to happen. Because, hell, the looking in division here, the Milwaukee Brewers, who had the best ending to the season in the MLB by any single team, they're down 3-0 to the LA Dodgers right now, and they have not had, any sort of chance, really, in any of these games. So, the only way I'm going to see a, World Series or a competitive Pirates team in my lifetime is if, first, Bob Nutting sells his team, but also if baseball fixes its economic system where these big market teams don't scoop up all of the good players, overpaying them to death, because that's what the Dodgers are doing, and that's the main reason why they're winning World Series. Hiring hired guns and mercenaries to win their championships. Bring on the lockout in 2027, in my opinion. Going and scrolling here through Twitter one more time here before we log off for the night, seeing if there is anything new. Seeing a lot of positive comments from Roman Wilson here. And yeah, best part about what I just said, talking about the Dodgers and how they hired guns. You want to know how broken baseball's economic system is? Here, I just scrolled past this post, and I've scrolled past it a couple of times. Dodgers fans literally think this way. Dodgers fans know it's never easy. And that is all of our reactions right there. It's never easy. Someone even had the audacity to put out there that, oh, I'm so jealous that, I'm so jealous of smaller market teams. You guys can make the playoffs and lose, and no one will really care. It's like, shut the up. I'd rather have expectations, go to the playoffs and be disappointed than, never have any expectations and just watch the same boring, lame ass story for 162 times every summer. Like, anyways, not really seeing anything here. Aside from the Steelers adding a wide receiver, I guess also we'll probably save this for another day. Also, these rumors, haven't seen anyone credible put it out there yet. The rumors of the Steelers being linked to Devon Achane from the Dolphins, that's still lingering out there as well. So, honestly, you're probably going to be giving up, what you're going to give up for Achane. It's probably going to be close to what you'll need to give up, probably slightly less for Jalen Waddle. I'd rather get Waddle than Achane. You got Warren in the backfield. You just spent a pretty high draft pick in the 3rd round on Caleb Johnson, so don't understand that. Finishing up with the comments here, Tyrone here. What's funny? Defense said our ass last 5 years. Finally got an offense, and now they want to play dog. Yeah. Defense lights out, except in playoffs and, end of season games when the offense was completely crap, and now that we got an offense and the defense is sputtering and sputtering and sputtering more here. Late in the season. Yep, as always. We good, though. I got faith. We just cursed on Thursday night. Yeah, that could be true. We may never win another Thursday night game, no matter whether it's at home or away, honestly. But like I said earlier, it'll be the most Steelers things ever to, after they lose like that to the Bengals, to go out there and, take it to the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers is going to want to do it. We'll be talking about that all week next week. So I think that's going to do it here for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Knew it was going to be a big one. Knew everyone was going to want to talk about this game and this loss for the Steelers. Think we covered most of it. We'll probably, recap and talk about it a little bit more on Monday. We'll see what goes on this weekend with the Cleveland Browns. They play the Miami Dolphins. Talk about a tank bowl right there. And, any other news that happens along the weekend, we'll come back here and chat about on Monday. One final time, I want to thank you all for joining me really over the past 2 weeks. My voice, it's just about shot. It's going to be nice having a weekend where I won't need to do much talking. Covered 2 Penguins games over the past week, 2 Steelers games, and a whole bunch of other live streams and videos in between there. So going to go and give the voice a bit of a rest here. Thank you all for joining me here tonight and last night for Thursday Night Football. One final time, please go give the channel a subscribe. Let me do a quick subscriber count here. We are up to 604 subscribers here on the channel, so go give that channel a follow. We do have one new subscriber here, Bergman. Welcome, Bergman, 11 minutes ago, so he must have been at 603, and now we're back to 604. Thank you for the subscribe, Bergman. Also, turn on notifications so that you do not miss anything on the channel here in the future. Like this live stream, share this live stream, and hope you all have a good rest of your weekend. Go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR, Facebook, Instagram, and X, and come back a little bit later on for SCSR60. See all the comments in here. Thank you. Peace and have a great night. All good. 9 days. Get rest. We'll be back. Definitely we'll be back Monday. We'll have a good bit to talk about leading up to Sunday Night Football next weekend against the Green Bay Packers. Have a good weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Go enjoy some good college football and go enjoy hate watching the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. See you back here on Monday. Peace.